Alright guys, so what's up? Can you guys see me okay, hear me okay, everything looks good? I'm trying out this streaming software, a new one, but I don't know, it looks like it's being a little laggy, so not sure if you guys can see. Alright, you guys can see, cool? Alright, so with everything that's going on right now, I was going to put out a video, and for some reason my camera's being jacked up, but I'll just give you a gist of what the video is going to be about. So, with everything going on, I feel as if I don't claim to know everything about everything, especially politics, and especially, just the current way things are going. Now, a couple things I want to bring up is I don't know, I feel like maybe, and myself in general, I feel a little bit responsible, I guess, but I feel like I tried to do as much as I could as far as getting people informed. I don't think maybe I did enough, but, right now, I think everyone's in a state of panic, which is, I feel like, a normal thing, but I think as adults, this is the thing I'm trying to get at. We have certain liberties in the United States, and we have certain freedoms that this goes against. As an adult American, you should have the freedom to choose what you want to put in your body, whether that's air, vaping, or cigarettes. Unfortunately, even cigarettes. You should have the freedom to do what you want to do. Now, being able to ban something like this, in my opinion, goes against that. It goes against all natural thought, goes against all, just instincts in you says that this isn't correct, Well, yeah, Michael Perkins, I feel like in the United States there's a precedent, and that precedent is money. This goes against all their money. This goes against everything that they don't want, And something I mentioned in my video, and it's something I speak on in the past a little bit when I created my channel, stuff like that, and it is, my mother smoked for 45 years. She worked for 45 years. She was never given anything. She wasn't a bum. She did everything she could to raise us the way that she thought fit, and my dad as well. My dad didn't smoke. My mom smoked. And now she is forced to be on, and look, I know a lot of the time in this country, and maybe other places too, when people smoke cigarettes, you hear the same thing. You're dumb. You're stupid. That's going to kill you. And not a lot of people have empathy. They don't have a lot of sympathy for people that smoke cigarettes. And as someone who smoked cigarettes for 7 years, cigarettes are so readily available. You can find them. They're easy. They're an easy outlet when you need something. So I have sympathy for smokers. I see it every day. But what I'm getting at is, my mom, like I said, worked her whole life, and now she's forced to be on an oxygen machine, a nebulizer, and 2 different types of inhalers. And her insurance is bullshit, and it's shit, to be honest. One of those medications, just one of them, they want to charge her $600 a month just to use. That's the type of money that Big Pharma is looking to lose if people vape. Now, am I saying that that vaping is end-all, be-all? No, but it's something that you and I and people that I have grown to know enjoy, and they enjoy something, whether it's to get off smoking, it's a hobby, and as an adult, you have the freedom to choose what you want to put in your body, whether that's you want to eat an apple, you want to drink an apple, that's your fucking choice. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say with this video. I just feel like I need some clarity. I'd like to speak with some of you guys. I feel like this was all of a sudden. It wasn't really all of a sudden. I mean, we've been seeing it for a long time. And I know there's a lot of panic right now, which brings upon, the onset of what everyone's feeling. So I think one of the biggest things that it needs to be addressed is all the millions of people that will lose their jobs. All the people small business that will go out of business. I feel like that is something that needs to be addressed, greatly. As someone I didn't vote for Trump. I don't really prefer to like him, but I don't. I wanted to see him do well, and I think something like this, it doesn't seem like something he would want as a businessman. Also, I think, even when I'm at work and people see me vaping, they say, that's going to kill you, right? You know that 6 people just died, right? And I go to explain to them, what really happened, but it always seems to fall on deaf ears. And it always seems to be, oh yeah, that's what it is. Oh, okay. And it never seems to really hit home for anyone. And I think one thing is, as vapors, and even just non-vapors, people in general in America, you see this happening before you. It may not affect you personally because you don't vape and you don't really care because it doesn't affect you personally. But what's next? What is banned next that you like, that you enjoy, that you feel like you should have the freedom to do if you want? What is that next thing? Something like this, it just seems to be against how we are as Americans, just to forbid someone from using a life-saving a life-saving thing. It seems almost un-American in that way, but in the same sense, they don't always want to cure everything. They just want to prevent you with medications and everything else. So I feel like that is also typically American. But I mean, what do you guys, in the chat, if you guys, how you guys dealing with this stuff? Yeah, Michael, it is sad for my mother, and it's one of them things, like I said, people look at it and they say, well, you smoked. It's your fault. They don't have empathy, you know what I mean? But I see it every day. And she is right now, dealt with the circumstance of getting a surgery, and I believe she called it a lung reduction, where they take out part of your lung to give you a better life. And in my mind, I see this every day, so it affects me. I see in the back of my mind, if I still smoke, if other people still smoke, that is your future. Your future is an early death, COPD, which is a long agonizing early death, or it could even be a late agonizing death. COPD is one of them diseases where it just creeps on you, and when you get it, and your body feels it. You're tired all the time. You can't do things. So when I see stuff like this, that's what I think about. I think about the millions of people that are going to continue to smoke, people that never had an opportunity to vape, and then they're going to have to be hit with these diseases. And guess what? They're going to have to go get medications from their doctor. And guess what? Those medications, you're on them for the rest of your life. You're paying out the ass for them medications. So those are some of the things that I think about with the current, what's going on. And I kind of wanted to get into statistics, because I know we talk about statistics sometimes. This story's a little bit funny, a little bit weird. You can be like, what the fuck? What's West Virginia up to? But anyway. Okay, so, statistics can be fabricated, and they can be basically, statistics can be whatever you want them to be. And a story I have, when I was in high school, about 17, 18, I might have been a senior, I can't remember. They gave us these things at the end of the year, or maybe it was in the beginning of the year. I don't really know, okay? My brain ain't working. But anyway, they gave you these things. It was like a form that asked you certain questions, like what drugs did you take, but it was anonymous, just because they wanted to get a feel for statistics of drug use and sexual activity and all that kind of stuff in the area. So, you saw these, what drugs did you take? Did you contract any sexual diseases? How many partners have you had? Stuff like that, to get a better idea. So as a 17-year-old kid, you see like, oh, there's crack on the page, and in your mind at 17, you're like, that's funny. So you fill that in. You see that you got herpes, fill that in. Because in your mind at 17, you're immature, you think it's funny. So right there, you just skewed statistics in a way that they're not exactly truthful. So then you'd be like out after the thing with your friends, hey, what'd you pick? Oh, I picked that I could fly. You'd be like, bro, that wasn't even that wasn't even an answer. And then, statistics are skewed. So that's why when I see these statistics, I get a little irritated, because statistics don't mean shit, to be honest. Actually, Valkill, you said something about you swiped a cig from a family member. That's actually how I started smoking. Was, when I was younger, my mom would smoke. She smoked, and I would smoke cigarettes because I would steal them from her. So something that gets me with a lot of the stuff on the news is that stuff is put out there to entice kids. So you guys can either agree with me or disagree with me on this. But I would say when I started smoking, I didn't smoke because there was a fucking camel on the pack or pretty colors or because of the cigarette companies trying to entice me. I smoked because my friends were doing it. I smoked because of my surroundings. I smoked because my mom had them there, left them out, never watched them, just take them, smoke them. So to say that these companies entice kids always gets me because I feel like that's a far stretch. Maybe some of them, like, went a little bit overboard with their branding and stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, you're going to do things that your friends do, that you feel comfortable doing. So when these things are put out there that they're enticing towards kids, I don't agree with that, I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know if that's how you guys feel, but in my mind, I don't feel that way. I mean, I do, there's always going to be that one company that may do that, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really agree with that. So, I don't really know exactly what, like I said, I'm trying to get out of this. I just needed a place to vent to you guys, I guess, to talk to you guys about it. And I feel like I did call the Washington D.C. number today, and I filmed it so that I could show it in a video later. I just felt like when I called the White House, I told them how I felt. And like I said, I filmed it, so I'm going to put that video out later. I told him how I felt and this and that, and then at the end she goes, okay. And I said, is that it? She goes, yeah, I'll let the president know. Or whatever she said. And I just felt like, man, I highly doubt that what I just said is going to get to the president. So I don't know if you guys have called that number. If you go to my Facebook group, I did put that number out there for you guys to call. It's a little bit annoying because when you call them, it says, your call will be ready. Your call is at least backed up for 8 minutes or some shit like that. They just kept saying it over and over. And I waited, you know what I mean? As much as it was annoying as hell, I waited that 8 minutes. And I did talk to someone, so if enough people do that, maybe, I don't know, So I do want to say hello to everybody in the chat. I kind of got started without doing that. This is my first live by myself, so it's a little weird. I ain't got Wild Bill and Emotional Eric with me, but so I do want to say hello to Michael Perkins, Anthony Adornetto, Afro Whale, Gregory Brown, Robert Riggin, and Louis the Hair Nicolette. So yeah, I feel like those are some things that I wanted to just get off my chest and talk about, but what did I say to Washington, D.C.? Is that what you're asking, Dustin? That's something that you're correct about, Michael. It's the fact that it's always on the news, but it's always in a negative light. And I always feel like there's never the other side. And I feel like in the news there should be both sides to a story, because it's always, their side, his side, and the truth. And it's always their side. There's never the truth, and there's never his side. So you always see this shit about vaping, and I always feel like it's so objective, I guess is the word. It's just objective for them, and it's never defended against. I seen a video though recently, and I put it up in my group, and it was the dude who went on, I think it's an Australian news channel, and he did spread a light to what's going on as of the cartomizer and things like that. But that's the only thing I've ever seen, and of course it wasn't the U.S. media. It was, another country's media. Dustin, I'm trying to think how I can tell you what I said. I talked to her and I said, I really think you guys are making a grave mistake. I said, out of respect, I said, you got to understand that not only kids like flavors. I said, adults also like flavors. I said, you guys got to understand that banning something doesn't work. people are going to get what they want to get, how they want to get it. I also said, what did I say? Sorry, I'm a little bit angry at the moment with the shit going on, but I just basically said everything that a normal person would say to defend vaping, and I said, I really think you guys need to look at real statistics. I said, I know recently there's been some deaths from vaping, but it's not the same vaping that most people do. I said, the people that got sick or that died from it were vaping illegal black market stuff. And it just felt like it fell on deaf ears with the woman. It felt like she didn't have anything to say. I mean, I get it. They're busy. They have a lot of calls going on. They probably don't have a lot of time to talk to me personally. But it didn't seem very reassuring that message was going to get along to the president. And I'm sure that, like I said, that woman has a busy schedule getting calls all day. But I felt a little bit unreassured. I don't know. I mean, do you really think that, Louis? You think that he's using this as an election ploy? Because even non-vapors feel as if, some non-vapors feel as if this is un-American to do this, or it's against your liberties as a human in America to do something like this. And people who have never vaped have even said you just can't ban things, you know, because you're going to cause an adverse reaction to banning something like this. Well, what I don't understand about the whole ban thing is, where's the research? Where are the people saying, you know, in Trump's corner, where are those people saying, you know, hey, this is a completely different topic from nicotine vaping. It's a completely different topic from THC vaping. You know, don't get it twisted. THC vaping, nicotine flavor vaping, and black market vaping, whatever they're vaping, are three different things. You got to understand, when you're buying something from someone off the street, if you're buying something from old fucking Jack the Ripper over there in the fucking alley, you know, you don't know what the hell he's putting in that shit. You're taking a risk on your own life. But when you're buying from a shop, when you're buying from an online reputable shop, there's a complete difference. There's a trust there. There's a trust that, you know, even those labs are being clean. But look at all the people who have been vaping for the last, 12 years or so? Nobody has gotten sick like this. But all of a sudden, it just pops up. And I don't see how there's not a correlation between the cardomizers or whatever they are that are tainted than from something like you know, this, just a normal vape. See, I don't know, man. I almost feel like there's other shit in play with this thing, because I don't think Trump cares if this helps him get elected, because I feel like he would lose votes if he does this. I mean, maybe not enough votes, but he would still lose a chunk of people. Even if you just thought in a non-vape way, if you just thought in a manner that what he's doing is unjust, and you were to think, you know, educationally, what he's doing shouldn't be done, he would lose my... I mean, I never voted for him in the first place, but he would lose my vote on that. Thanks, Philly. Like I said, you know, I was going to put out a normal video that I pre-recorded, but I've been having issues with my computer and the software lately, so I figured, you know what, I'll put out put it out as live, see what you guys have to say, how you guys are dealing with the news, what you guys are thinking, that type of thing. Sorry, I'm going to read through the comments a little bit. I don't want you guys thinking I'm ignoring you. Well, you know, something that we talk about sometimes, and it's something that I can't say that I am super knowledgeable about, but I read some stuff today about the MSA, and I kind of want to read off some of the things they talk about. And this is public knowledge. It's not like I'm making it up. And, you know, so, you know, state by state look at 1998 tobacco statement 19 years later. They're saying 19 years later, so you know what I'm saying. States will collect 2.7 billion from the MSA in taxes in the fiscal year 2018, but will spend less than 3% of it on programs to prevent kids from smoking. So the states are just reaping in benefits from these taxes and the MSA from tobacco. No state currently funds tobacco prevention at the level recommended by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. 29 states and the District of Columbia spend less than 20% of the CDC recommendation. So tell me, the CDC is part of who wants to ban flavors, correct? Weren't they one of the people that was mentioned with the FDA? So you're spending less than 3% of that money. The rest of that money is going towards the state to do whatever they please with. So you're fucking up their money, basically. If you're vaping, you're fucking up their money. They want to find a way to recoup that money, so that's going to be a huge part of it as well. When have any of you in the chat ever heard, and that's a great point by Michael, I've never even heard of the MSA in the news, ever. I didn't even learn about it until someone on a live show with us told us about it. And then I really started to really realize it's not a conspiracy. I'm not making this shit up. If you want to find the facts, you can go to Public Health Law Center and you look it up. It's public knowledge. And the fact that they don't even care about the kids, that's the point. This whole save the kids thing, if each state cared about the kids, why is only 3% of that of the MSA going towards saving the children? Why are cigarettes not banned? Why are flavored alcohols not banned? There's flavored THC, there's flavored, everything. So all their arguments are just not logistical. Well, Billy Cooper, I'm from West Virginia. The only thing we learn about is sheep and mountains. No MSAs here. Oh yeah, and we learn about our sisters. That's about it. What I'm trying to say is, after reading this, and this isn't, like I said, a conspiracy, you would have to almost think that nothing that they put out in the media is factual. Because like I said, if they really cared about the youth epidemic, they would put money out towards that too, but they don't. Well, and also, another thing this article says is that in North Carolina, because I believe that's where they grow a lot of tobacco, some of this MSA money goes towards growing that tobacco. And that's a fact as well. I will try to find what they say here somewhere. So, that's something you have to look at as well, because that money's being pushed right back into big tobacco. So it's like an endless cycle of, money for big tobacco. I think it was a different article, but I'll try to find it. Well, nonetheless, it was an article and it was real. Yeah, you just did you just get the C-roll, Dustin? Because I find that RDA to be really good as well. Nah, I get it, man. Sometimes you gotta lighten up the mood. You gotta talk about different shit. This is gonna be everywhere, and I know my channel doesn't have as much reach as others, but I think it's something that, as my duty as a reviewer, I have to say something. I can't just be silent about it. And I'll tell you something else. I understand. You see a lot of phone numbers on Facebook. You see a lot of this and that. Talk to these people's senators. Talk to their governors. Talk to this and that. I call all those numbers. Whether it is Tennessee, Michigan. Some of them even ask me if I live in the state. And in that day, yeah, I do live in that state. I live in fucking Yankeeville, Tennessee. And that's where I live. That's what I tell them. I live in this. I make up places because I want my voice to be heard. That's something that, people got to do as well. Even if I called for the Michigan one, they asked me where I lived. I was like, I don't know. I just moved here. You know what I mean? I live under this fucking bridge, but I live here. I try to get my voice out there as much as possible. I try to message as many people as possible. I try to put my word out there, and I don't know that enough people do that. And I understand people are busy. People have lives. outside of vaping. And that's another thing. Vaping is, like I said, not the end all be all for everybody, but it's something that we enjoy, and it's something that, in my opinion, saves your life. It can save your life. It can prevent you from an early death, and that's something that I think more people should be up in arms about. I think that this topic has really, sorry, I got a cramp. Some people bring out a lot of scaredness in people, I guess you could say, but it's something that people should have felt a couple years ago. People should have felt this way in the beginning. They should have been ready for something like this, because it's been said to us, it's been told to us, but it's something you never thought would happen and you didn't want to happen. Nobody wants this to happen. I never thought that it would be something that the president would just enact, because in the same token, and I know, like I said, everything I'm telling you, I'm sure other reviewers have said, I'm sure other people have said, smarter people than myself have said, people not from the western part of Virginia have said, that it doesn't matter how many times you tell people, if it doesn't affect them, they don't do anything about it. And it's just the way it is. If President Trump tomorrow said, you know what, you guys aren't allowed to drive cars anymore, too many DUIs, too many wrecks, too many people falling asleep at the wheel, then people would be up in arms, because that affects you. That affects your daily life. But right now, vaping doesn't affect everybody's daily life, because people see what the media says. They see that the media talks about vaping in such a deeming light that who wants to save that? You know, if you're a parent and you see on TV, oh, this kid died because he smoked 50 Nick Salt. Well, you know what? That wasn't meant for him. It was meant for people transitioning from cigarettes. It was intended for adult use. It wasn't intended for youth use. So those are the types of things you see on the news. If you were a parent, I'm not a parent. I understand you would be scared for your kid, but it's not truly the epidemic that everyone says it is. Well, Michael, in the UK, I mean, how is it looked? Well, because I feel like it's not looked upon as bad as it is here in the UK, is it? That's what I mean. It isn't socially acceptable. Because what is the picture that people paint of vapors? I'm walking around with this giant fucking mod, blowing clouds, not caring about nothing. I'm so cool. When in reality, how many people really walk around like that? I mean, you got a few douchebags in anyway. You know, you drive a Honda Civic with a 30-foot spoiler, you're like the equivalent of what they're painting a vapor to be. I just think it's so crazy how radically different it is from the United States to other places. I don't see how it's so radically different. Or why, I guess. So yeah, like I said, I really feel, and other people have said this, you know, if you like a certain juice, I would stock up now, just because you don't know what's going to happen. And I won't quit vaping. I'll find a way to keep vaping. Even if I have to make my own, I'll find a way to keep vaping. And I really hope that others who vape don't go back to smoking. And I hope that you guys can find a way to continue doing what you like. Now, I always wondered if that was true. I mean, I always tell people that there's vaping in hospitals in other countries, but how does that even work? Well, you know, the crazy thing is about people talking about vaping and cigarettes is I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a cash grab, whether that's parents of kids that vaped. They want to sue Joel. They want to sue this and that. You see people on TV, oh, I had to quit vaping by smoking. Now, you tell me in your fucking life, have you ever wanted to smoke a cigarette instead of vaping what you like? I smoked 2 cigarettes. I might be a different case. I don't know. I'm a special person type deal. You know what I mean? I got shit going on in my head. But I smoked 2 cigarettes while transitioning from cigarettes to vaping, and I never went back. I tried smoking a cigarette, and I just couldn't. And I could never imagine quitting vaping by smoking. And then to hear that vaping is a gateway to smoking marijuana, to smoking pot, to doing vape, I don't see I don't see the correlation. I don't see where that's true. I don't see. Well, that's crazy. That's what, maybe that's what the United States wants. Maybe they want to control the vapor industry in a way that it's not so readily available and that you got to get a fucking prescription to get it, which would fucking suck. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of statistics out there to back us as vapors, so I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the topic. I think what also is kind of nerve wracking and nerving to me is there was a couple petitions in my group, and they needed X amount of signatures, and they didn't even get close. And I don't understand that. I feel like there's got to be enough vapors out there that you can get shit signed, you can get shit put into play. That I just don't understand what the issue is with clicking on a link, going to that link, and just giving your input. That's true. That they say it's a teen epidemic, and I don't agree with that as well. And I might be saying these numbers wrong, but they said 1 in 10 underage people vaped. But if it was an epidemic, would it make sense that it should be a higher number than 1 in 10? Shouldn't it be like 8 out of 10 or like 9 out of 10? Wouldn't that be a true epidemic? And considering how many people there are, I mean, I guess that's a large amount of people, but the problem is those kids probably aren't consistently vaping. They probably tried it. They probably, there's so many variables that go into all that I don't even look at the statistics. Yeah, that's one of them I seen one of them though. It was closed. One of the petitions that I signed had only made it to like 10,000 or something out of 100,000, and it was closed. You couldn't sign it anymore. So I just don't understand that. There's got to be 100,000 people in this fucking country that can sign that, and it would go through. And I think, and it's something we talk about often, that I would say that there's a lot worse things, and this is the last thing I talked about in the video, is I live in a small town in West Virginia, and there's a far cry of an epidemic here compared to vaping. I barely see anybody even vaping here, whether it's adults or teenagers. I don't see it. But I do see a lot of drug use. I do see a lot of stuff that I consider to be far worse in an epidemic standard than vaping. And I feel like there's a lot worse things that they could be tackling compared to vaping. I don't think you can ban all vices, man, because if so, you'd have to ban cigarettes and alcohol. You'd have to ban wine. You'd have to ban wine because it's flavored. You have to ban champagne. Alright, guys, so that's about all I can say right now. I'm going to put another video out later. I just kind of wanted to get your opinions and feedback from this, but I'm going to end the stream now. I do think that I'm going to be putting some reviews out soon. I got a couple, and I got a couple products being sent to me that I want to put out too as well. But I do appreciate you all being here. This is my first live by myself, so it was kind of weird talking with no one, but just staring at the screen. But yeah. So I do appreciate every single one of you commenting and talking. It's been nice to see some of your opinions, and I'm sure we just have to, keep vaping and just keep it strong until we see what happens. And I don't know, try to change it, try to make things better. Sign as many petitions as possible. Get your voice out there as many ways as possible. call every senator, call every whatever that you can. I call the White House like I did. I don't know what else you can do, but yeah, thank you for being here, Michael. I do appreciate you guys being here, and it was nice to just kind of vent this out to you guys, give my thoughts. I don't know if I said the right things when I talked to the White House. I felt like they didn't want me to say more than what I did, but yeah, if you guys get the chance, go check out my group and then call that number if you can. But yes, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you later. And also, for real this time, let's do this. But let's do this for America and West Virginia.